vodka, whiskey, beer, wine, alcohol, poison, ethanol. Whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. And most people in our society do drink alcohol. The sad thing is that most people get to 70 years of age without actually realizing that they have been addicted to a drug. And because it's so normalized in our society, drinkers think that it's totally normal to spend over $100,000 on alcohol in a lifetime, while systematically destroying their health, their self-esteem, their self-confidence, and their courage. But the big question is this: what mistakes do these people make? What things are these drinkers believing that a non-drinker sees right through? And most importantly, how can we make sure that you don't make these mistakes? Well, that's exactly what we're covering in this video. We're talking about 5 mistakes that 90% of drinkers make. You do not want to be making these mistakes, so make sure to watch all 5. Just before we get into the video, if you want to get access to the free video training showing you how to control your drinking without AA or willpower, click the link in the description. I'll be showing you how to use the mental model called first principles thinking to get control of your drinking. I'll be talking about the 5 critical mistakes that 90% of drinkers make, and I'll also be sharing the 2 phases of becoming sober clear. You do not want to miss that training video. It will change your mindset around drinking forever so you can start getting your health, career, confidence, and relationships back on track. Click the link in the description for instant access. So the first mistake that drinkers make is they think that they've got an addictive personality. When I drank alcohol, I believed that I had an addictive personality. I believed that for some reason I drank because I got addicted to things. That's just who I was on an inner level. And in my personal journey, I actually ended up going to AA. And here I was told that I was an alcoholic, that I had something wrong with me, I had this disease, and I was gonna have this disease for the rest of my life. Now, here's the thing that we don't get told. Alcohol is the only drug that if you have an issue with it, you get a label. You are the problem. People that smoke cigarettes are not nicotine-aholics for the rest of their life. They are not labeled as the problem forever. They don't walk around with the rest of their life with this disease. Same with other drugs. Same with other addictions. Think about somebody that had a porn addiction. Think about somebody that had a coffee addiction, a caffeine addiction. Are you a caffeine-aholic for the rest of your life? Do you have to give yourself up to God for the rest of your life? Yet when it comes to alcohol, we get these labels. We get told that somehow we're the problem. We're the addict. The drug is not the problem. And this is something that I had to overcome. I had to remove this idea that I was somehow the problem, that I was the addict. Because in my story, I tried going to A, but it didn't work for me. Then what I realized is that I removed the drug and there was never anything wrong with me in the first place. I simply changed the way that I viewed alcohol, got rid of the drug, and I could get on with my life. Yet for 10 years, I didn't do that. I always thought of myself as the addict. I thought I had an addictive personality. I thought I was the alcoholic. But then I soon realized that once I get rid of the drug, my life goes well. I get back to the gym. My relationship improves. I start working on my business. I travel more. I do the things that I want to do. And I don't need to live with a label of being an alcoholic for the rest of my life. I don't need to give myself up to God. I don't need to go to meetings. I can just crack on with things. So that's the first mistake. The second mistake is thinking that drinking gives us a good time. A lot of people think that when they stop drinking that it's going to be boring. They're going to think of all the good times that they had with alcohol. They're going to think of the weddings, the barbecues, the nights out with their friends. And they're going to remember that these were enjoyable times. And I'm not saying that they weren't enjoyable times when you were drinking, but they're going to look at these occasions and say that it's never going to be like that if I don't drink. And now here is a truth bomb. Alcohol does absolutely nothing at all to enhance any occasion whatsoever. It is impossible for alcohol to enhance an occasion. Because if we actually think about the act of drinking, right, it's this. There's nothing enjoyable about that. There's nothing fun about that. And what we typically find is if we really sit down and do some reflection and do some introspection and just kind of look back at the scenarios where alcohol is involved and we thought that we had a good time, we really look back and we see that it was the company that we were with. We think of the weddings with our parents, our brothers, or our aunties, our uncles, our friends. Everyone's having a great time because it's a wedding, it's a great day. Oh, and alcohol was also involved. But it wasn't the alcohol that was causing the good time. It never was. It's impossible for drinking to give you a good time. It does nothing to enhance an occasion. And then if we really start to rack our brains and we really look at those scenarios, we actually start to remember, was alcohol actually causing a good time, or did the time get worse as the drinking increased? What about the fights that happened? What about the arguments? What about the thing that you said to somebody that you don't remember saying? And then they look at you funny the next day and you're like, I don't even remember what I said. See, we don't remember these times. What we kind of do is we kind of think of these almost snapshots in an event where we think of it was a good time, we think that we were drinking, it was alcohol causing the good time. It was never alcohol that caused the good time. It was always the company that you were with. The thing that people get afraid of is that when they remove alcohol, that all these events aren't going to be as fun. They're not going to be as exciting. They're not going to be as interesting. But this is a myth. It's a myth, it's a mistake to think this way because it's not true. I've stopped drinking, I still go to bars, I still hang out with my friends that drink. Plenty of people that I work with in the Sober Clear program have done the same thing. They've gone to dates, they've gone to restaurants, they've done whatever they want to do anyway. And they also realize that it isn't the alcohol that's causing the good time, it's the people that they're with, it's the company. So this is a mistake. This style of thinking that alcohol causes a good time, it does nothing to cause a good time. In fact, it has the opposite effect. Now, the third mistake that people make is when they actually come to stop drinking and they say, right, this is it, I'm giving it a shot, is they use willpower. Now, I'm not saying that this approach is 100% ineffective. So I stopped drinking with willpower for around 9 months. Long story short, I had a drinking problem, I've been living this roller coaster life, and there was a point where I just stopped drinking. I was sick on a computer, I threw up blood on this MacBook Pro, and at that point I was like, I can't keep doing this, I quit. I'm done. And I'm not gonna lie, I lasted 9 months. I thought that willpower was going to I could just blast through it, I could grit through it, I could fight through it. But then what happened is, there was one day where my willpower wasn't strong. There was a day where I might have been a bit tired, whatever it was, and I was at a party. And it was this New Year's Eve party, and everybody was dressed nice, fancy, and everybody's drinking, and my willpower ran out, and I drank that day. Because I was just gritting through every single day without drinking. Life was going well. But then what happened is there was just that one day where the willpower was low. But if you think about it, you may be the same way. You may think that because you're a strong-willed person, that willpower is going to be the best technique to stop drinking. You might have a great career. You might have a great family, a great body already. You might have done things like a degree, a challenging degree, or a challenging piece of work in the past that required a crap ton of willpower. So if you're a strong-willed person, then using willpower to stop drinking seems to be the most logical approach. Yet, it fails us. It fails us again and again and again and again. In fact, it failed me for 10 years. Willpower and stopping drinking, you think that they would go hand in hand, but for some reason, it just doesn't seem to work. And it's why I talk about doing first principles thinking. It's why I talk about building this paradigm where you see alcohol for what it is, without the labels, without the illusion, without the conditioning. When you can just see alcohol as a drug, as ethanol, as poison. That introduction that I made to this video, I'm not joking when I say these things. That's all that it is. It's something that does nothing for you. It never has, it never will. And you need to get crystal clear on this idea that alcohol does nothing for you. It never did. It never will do. And when you see that clearly, you don't need to exert willpower anymore. I don't need to exert willpower to not drink bleach. I'm not fighting every day to not drink bleach. I'm not avoiding the flipping aisle in the supermarket that sells bleach because I see bleach for what it is. It's not something that I want to drink. The same way that I see alcohol now. I don't need willpower to not drink alcohol because I see it for what it is. Now, the fourth mistake that people make is that they bury their head in the sand. What I mean by this is they don't face the problem. They say to themselves, I can stop drinking whenever I want. And this goes on for 20, 30 years. I've worked with people in the Sober Clear program, they've drank for 30 years. They've just never decided to say, wait a minute, is this doing anything for me? They buy into the marketing, they buy into the conditioning, they buy into the illusion of it being a good thing, and this just goes on and on and on and on and on. And they never sit down and go, is this actually helping me? They never do critical thinking. They don't think about the second order consequences. And I actually made an in-depth video talking about mental models and how you can use those to stop drinking, where I talk about second order thinking and thinking about how the actions that you take today, how they ripple outwards tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. And when it comes to alcohol, we can see that it has a ripple effect that it doesn't go to a pretty place. The night that you get drunk may mean that you lose a client the next day in your business. It might mean that you skip a workout. You might forget an important piece of information. You might forget to tell your kids that you love them. And when these things add up again and again and again and again and again, there are consequences. Yet people never really sit down and say, was it alcohol causing that consequence? And they just bury their head in the sand for years. And if that is you, well, it probably isn't you because you're watching this video. There must have been something that enticed you to click on this video. You must be in a process now where you're starting to question, is alcohol all it's made up to be? And I'm telling you, it isn't. It's bullshit. It does nothing for you. And the fifth mistake that drinkers make is they don't ask for help. They don't say, listen, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. I don't want to do it alone. I need a system. I need someone to follow. Most people are afraid to do that. I was very fortunate when I wanted to stop drinking. So I told my mum, I want to stop drinking. And it's quite easy to kind of have these conversations with family. It's not so easy to have it with friends. But I told my mum that I want to stop drinking. She helped me go to AA. Now, whilst AA wasn't a long-term solution, what it taught me was that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say that I don't know what I'm doing here. And so many drinkers they don't ask for help. If you've got a drinking problem, you have got nothing wrong with you. You got addicted to a drug that most people in our society are addicted to. Despite whether they only have 1 or 2 drinks, despite whether they only have a bottle of wine at the weekend, it makes no difference. If you've got addicted to this drug, you have got nothing wrong with you. It's okay to seek help. It's okay to see a therapist, to get a coach, to read a book, to go to AA, to check yourself into whatever. It's okay to ask for help. Don't be ashamed. Anyway, guys, don't make these mistakes. Have a great day.